about black business. And you guys talked about some issues that we have on both sides of the fence, right? Issues that the black entrepreneur has, issues that the consumer who desires to support us has. And I was just sitting there going like, I got a question. So I was very excited about that. I'm just going to tell you that I've already said I'm passionate about black entrepreneurship. One of the questions that was asked was, why do we need to have more black-owned businesses? My simple answer to that question is, because we need to create wealth. And we need to create legacy. And so anybody that I've ever known that had a lot of money, if you look at the country's richest people, who do they work for? Who do they work for? Themselves. And to me, entrepreneurship equals freedom. Freedom. In fact, all of my businesses opened on July 4th. Any reason why? You know why? Declaration of my independence. July 4th. My most recent bed and breakfast I opened in Philadelphia. I heard, is Pastor from Philadelphia? I thought I heard you say that. So we're in University City, which is West Philadelphia, and we opened there on July 4th. We bought the mansion on June 24th, and we opened on July 4th. Wow. Because, it's a thing. It became a thing. It's like July 4th. It has to open. So we called it a first look, and we were able to get 3 rooms ready in the common spaces. We put it out in the world of social media and with our network and said, we're going to have a big grand opening. July 4th is big in Philadelphia because they do the whole Wawa, that's the Independence Hall. And we had 400 people lined up waiting to come. Such a warm welcome in Philadelphia. But entrepreneurship equals freedom. It equals the ability to create your own destiny. Now, I have to be honest with you. I am born and raised in Washington, D.C. So do you think that I was groomed to be a business owner? What was I groomed to become? A government employee. Get your good government job, and you work there until you can't work anymore, and they give you a gold watch, and you hobble home, and you get your pension, and that was it. That's all I ever heard of, ever knew. You're going to get a good government job, right? Right? And that's okay for some people. But they have government steps. Anybody work for the government? They dictate, it's mandated how much you make. Doesn't matter how well you do, how much money you earn anybody else. This is your salary. Right? I've had a lot of jobs. I've had the best job in the world, editor-in-chief of Essence Magazine. It was a job I dreamed of having when I was 16 years old. It was a magazine that sat on the coffee table in my home. It proclaimed me beautiful as a black woman. That's what I wanted to do, right? And people think, get yourself a good job because that's safe, security. And they think that entrepreneurship is risky. How many people think that owning your own business is risky? It is. It is. What's riskier? Working for somebody else who can give you a pink slip the next tomorrow. No explanation. Riskier. So there's no security or safety in that, the way I was raised to believe, right? And we were talking about money. I heard you talking about money. And we don't like to talk about money. We like to spend it. We don't like to talk about it. So I know I was raised with this. I know y'all heard this before. My daddy would say, money don't grow on trees. I would have my hand out. He said, you think money grow on trees? But he never told me where it grew. Doesn't grow on the tree, but where does it grow? How does it grow? Right? We didn't learn that. We didn't have those conversations at the dinner table. Pay yourself first. I didn't know what that meant. We don't have that. So when we think about why we have been behind in starting business, that's part of it, because it's not in our DNA. However, if we look closer, we will discover that it really is. I'm at Howard University now with young people. Let me tell you something. Everybody has a dorm room business. You all know these. Listen, it's the woman who braids hair, put herself through college. Now they do eyelashes and eyebrows. Now the guy makes empanadas and delivers it to your dorm at 2 in the morning when you're still up studying. I mean, so our young people, this new generation, I have hope. I've kept it alive. I kept hope alive. And really, I spent the whole first year at Howard University doing what? Trying to shift the mindset. Because Howard, like a lot of our HBCUs, we've been very successful at being a fertile ground to send people into corporate America. And that's okay. We need to be there too. But we have young people who are there saying, well, I'm here because my parents want me to be, I don't know, fill in the blank. And the guy who makes the empanada said he wants a food truck. Now, you know, they're not trying to hear that. They don't feel that they can brag about the fact that he has a food truck. But if we understand that the bragging rights come in because he opens the key, he sets his own hours. He works hard. He doesn't tell himself how much he's going to pay himself. He tells himself how hard he's going to work because of how much money he wants to make. Okay? So we're there with the young people saying, I'll talk to your mama. Let's talk to your mama. I'm there saying to the professors, okay, while you're teaching that, could you also tell them how they can use what you're teaching them to develop a business of their own? And I have an open door policy, and guess what? As many professors come through the door as students do. Because truth be told, they're only teaching because they haven't done it. And they really want to. So young people come and they go, well, I want a business. What kind of business? And a lot of times we don't even know where to start to think about what kind of business do I want? So the number one thing I say is don't ask the question, what do I want to sell or what service do I want to provide? The question should be, what do people need? Sell them what they need. So, you know, you have people who like to crochet and they sit at home and they make and say, I'm going to make these knit hats. You don't want to wear that knit hat. No, they don't want the knit hat. It's cute. You had fun making it, right? That's called a hobby. Because if nobody wants to buy it, it can't be a business. So when you come up with your brilliant idea for a business, and I know you do this, y'all watch Shark Tank, there's all this stuff on TV now that make it kind of look easy, right? I want you to really stop and think, what do people really need? I just had a young woman come into my office, and she graduated in May, and her boyfriend also graduated law school. And she said she and her girlfriend wanted to create a business, and she didn't know what. She said, I don't know what it would be. So now we have to look at, what do you do well, right? What do you enjoy doing? What might you even do for free? Those businesses are a little easier because you like it. So I said, well, what problem do you have right now? Because if we can solve a problem, we can create a business. What's your problem? Just tell me, what are you thinking about? What's going on in your world? What problem do you have? She said, well, honestly, I think the biggest problem I have is that I think that my boyfriend is going to propose, and I don't think he's going to do it right. I said, is there a right way and a wrong way? But you know, you've seen prom proposals. They make a big deal just to ask somebody to go to the prom. And this is a function of social media, right? You can't just get on one knee. I don't know how you did it, Pastor. You probably just got on one knee, said, you know, love you, want to spend the rest of my life with you. No. The women now, these young women, millennials, it's a big deal because they want the camera there. It's FaceTime Live. They're going to put up the video, the whole thing. So she said, I know my man. I think he's going to just take me out to dinner. He'll probably have them just take a plate with some chocolate on the plate and say, will you marry me? Have the ring on the plate. And I don't want that. It needs to be fabulous. I said, so that's your problem right now. How is he going to do this? We talked a little bit more about what her skills are, what she likes to do. She said event planning, just like my friend right here, who has an event planning business for the last 2 years, right? Okay, we're going to introduce you in a minute. I met her today. She said, I'm good at that. I like experiences. I like to create big things and have fun and blah, blah, blah. This is why I know he's not going to do it well. I said, do you think there's some other people like him? Do you have other girlfriends getting married who have the same kind of concern? She said, yeah. I said, okay, here we go. How about that business? Can we come up with a proprietary intake list of questions that you ask your client? Can we, and the client's the guy or whoever's doing the proposing, right? Can we say to him, what's her favorite color? What would she say would be the best date you ever had? Is there a special place? Is she the kind of person who is very private, or does she want to have all her girlfriends there when you get on one knee? How much money does he want to spend? Can we have 3 different packages so we can meet him where he is in the pocket? So we're going through this whole thing. So we come up with her business plan. Then she goes and she starts to do business pitch competitions to finance her business. I encourage this a lot of times, because we know how to tell our story. So if you can let the passion come through, because we don't necessarily have access. Thank God for the lady who wrote you a $10,000 check. But we typically don't have a cousin or auntie or anybody with some extra cash to help finance our dream. We're trying to help somebody who needs some real help, and put that in quotes. They just got out. They need a place to live. Somebody's lights get ready to get shut off, right? So you start talking about, can y'all help me out with, and I actually don't, I have a kind of a problem with the Kickstarter model, but that's a whole nother thing. I think when you're in business, you're in business. Make the business plan, go to the bank, get the loan. I don't want to, as your customer, have to pay you to have a business. But we came up with her business. Then the marketing, you guys talked a little bit about that on the panel as well. It's all in the name. She wanted to call her business, this proposal business, Perfect Proposals. Okay. So we have to then go and do a trademark search and see if the name is available. There's lots of steps. We look and we find out Perfect Proposals is already taken. She can't call it that. Then she decided that she wanted to call it Grandeur Moments. Problem is she couldn't say the word grandeur. She was saying grandeur. I was like, no, you can't even say it. It can't be the name. And I don't know what that is. I want to know pretty quickly what you're selling. You tell me Grandeur Moments, I'm thinking maybe it's a photography service that someone's captured the moment. I don't know what that is, right? So I gave her what I thought was a brilliant name. But then I was like, she's going to look at me like I'm old school. But she went with my suggestion. Her business is called On Bended Knee. Wow. Right? And just the moment she gets up there and says, on bended knee, that reaction, because you've talked to the heart. Yes. Right? So that business already, people are listening. And you have to have your elevator pitch very quickly. People don't have time, we move fast. Yes. What is it that you do? And then you follow up very quickly with that and here's why you need me. That's right. Same breath. That's right. Same breath, right? So we heard with your hair business, there was a lot of feedback on that. Mama got feisty. She was like, I'm not going to wait in here for 2 hours. You made the appointment at 10 o'clock, right? Okay. So now we're appealing to what is the problem. The problem that I heard consistently, whether it was somebody trying to get a thermostat put in their house is that we need dependability. We need you to be respectful of our time. So my brother, who's always on time with his moving and transportation business, it's okay with me if he puts on his card, never late. Because as a consumer, that's what matters to me, right? So you got to understand what people want to buy, not what you want to sell,
That's right. That's right.
What do people want to buy? Right? And then once you're in the game, right, understand that it's somewhat of a game, right? When I'm selling my bed and breakfast, I'm going to go with my other speech in a minute, but when I'm selling my bed and breakfast, I'm not selling a bed, a place to sleep, because I'm real clear that they're coming, that I'm the destination. That's a tall order. I'm the destination. So now, this is an emotional issue, right? I understand that when they walk through the door, and this is how we got the reality show. Thank you for binge watching it, by the way. I appreciate that. Anybody see Checked In? I was showing Oprah. Listen, we understood. The number one thing I said when Oprah said, yes, I want that show, is because I said that when our guests check in, they don't just bring their luggage. Sometimes they bring a lot of baggage. And that's when the innkeeper turns into the therapist who helps them unpack it. That's it. Then we don't get into nickel and diming, because that is priceless. So when we're talking about a hookup, you know, because that's what I heard y'all. Everybody want to hook up. It's like, how much is your life worth?
Right.
How much is your relationship with the woman who's about to divorce you worth? Because we're going to help you at least let her hear you this weekend. She may not buy what you're saying, but we're going to try to make it so that she at least hears you, right? And this is what it is. It's a tall order. It's hard. I would much rather, to be honest with you, it'd be easier. I won't say I would rather. It'd be easier to say, we have beautiful rooms, nicely appointed. We'll check you in, get you all settled. They're like, so where am I going to take him for his birthday? And how can I propose to her tonight? It's a lot. And we have to be listening, and we have to deliver what they really want. We have to see the customer for who they really are. When the woman comes and she's checked in by herself and it's her birthday, we have to help her understand what a smart thing you just did. You're going to celebrate you. We know that there was some other stuff going on. He didn't show up and this and all that other stuff. But we're going to turn that picture around and say, wow, so envious of you that you get to pamper you. Can we set you up with a massage while you're here? Right? So we have to know who we're talking to, what we're talking about. We also have to understand we have a lot of transferable skills. So some of us stop short of launching the business because maybe we don't have a master's in business administration. And maybe we have never done hair. You said you wanted a hair salon, but you don't know how to do hair. And I agree that that's a deficit, because if they don't show up, and they won't, you're going to get burned. Staff is going to burn you at some point. You can do that. But that should not stop you. You've got a vision. I've been working with a young man who wants to do a barbershop. But he wants that barbershop to be non-stereotypical of the black barbershop. So we're not even going to call it a barbershop. But the idea is he wants the cigars in the room, a special room with a what do you call that? Humidor for the cigars. And he wants a certain kind of music to play. He wants certain kinds of no sports on the screen, on the TV screen. Gentlemen with the beards, you know, the hats going back to 50s or 40s style. So he wants the men to come in and to be really pampered. He wants to wear, you know, a bow tie and with his apron, and just, he wants that to become an experience. All barbershops are an experience, but he wants a different kind of experience, right? And that's also the other piece. When you have a business, what is your unique selling proposition? Why you and not the other person? And until you understand the answer to that, because a lot of us don't know, why you and not the place down the street? What makes your thing so special? Well, everybody can use balloons. Why your balloons? Right? You have to know the answer to that question. That is your unique selling proposition. Right? So So we say, why Aquaba? That's my business, Aquaba Bed and Breakfast. It's mostly everybody that looks like us there. Why? Because when you're on vacation, you don't want to explain your hair. Let's start there. Because we're making some hash browns and we know to get the hot sauce ready. So you have to know. So this is the thing that's special. Because you never know who else is going to be at the family style breakfast table with you. And we walk in, we know what's music to play. It's not going to be music. So that's what makes it special. That's what makes you successful. Right? So I'm going to back up and go back to my beginning story. I told you I'm from Washington, D.C. I was supposed to work for the government. That was the idea. I moved to New York City because I got tired of pretending like I was from here. I majored in journalism and I minored in fashion, specifically because I wanted to be editor-in-chief of Essence Magazine. And I said, oh, that's the combination right there, right? And then I came and moved here and started working my way to that. My daddy was a moving man. He worked for a moving company that had my name on the side of it. It's called Greenwood's Transfer. It was started by my grandfather. I didn't discover until after I had graduated college that it was the oldest black-owned business in Washington, D.C. Wow. My granddaddy started in the 20s. Yes, in your business. My grandfather, who I really didn't know, I was 2 years old when he passed away, used to have a corner grocery store. And when the white grocer down the street complained that he didn't want to have his groceries delivered in the same truck with my papa's, my papa could have, he could have called up some of his boys, right, to handle that, right? He could have whined and cried to my grandma, look what they doing to the black, woe is me, the black man. He could have done all that. But he got innovative, and I think that's the number one thing a successful business owner has to do. Every single day, you're going to be a problem solver. Yes. Every single day, right? So now, he can't get his groceries delivered. Problem solve that. So he goes, I'm going to get my own truck, and back then they were pulled by horses. I'm going back. He said, well, I only got to pick up groceries twice a week. What am I going to do with my truck on the other days? He said, I'm going to start hauling furniture and trash. That's what he started to do. That business became more successful than the corner grocery store, right? And then guess what happened? After my papa died, he left equal share of the business to his 4 children, my daddy being one of them. My father immediately sold his quarter of the business to my auntie and bought the house that he raised me and my 5 siblings in and lived in until he passed away 3 years ago. The American dream, he wanted the house. He sold it to my auntie. I had an uncle, passed away, sugar diabetes. When he passed away, my aunt bought his share, right? Then I had another uncle, Lord help him, Uncle Ben. Everybody got Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben was just irresponsible. She just kind of took his share, right? So growing up, I was raised on a moving man's salary, and even though the company was called my last name, my daddy was an employee, right? This is why entrepreneurship in black business is important. My auntie, who bought up everybody's share, was the owner now. She got government contracts. We're in Washington, D.C., right? So growing up, we had this house that my daddy traded it all in for. And there were 7 people in a 3-bedroom house. You can do the math. My auntie grew the business. And I used to call her behind her back Alexis Carrington Colby. Some of y'all are old enough to remember Dynasty. I used to watch it religiously. I just call her Alexis. And she had chandelier earrings like these. They look like that. And they had a swimming pool in the backyard. And she'd have us over. Everybody would come over. And she'd say things like, here come Carl's clan. That was us. My daddy, Carl, here we come. We all excited. We get to swim in the swimming pool. And she got hot dogs. You know, we're excited. And she's sitting there just going, look at their clan. You know? And as I got older and understood that, the only way I was getting back at her, God bless her, she's 94 now. She's the only one living. Feisty as she always was. I said, we're going to get back at her, because she used to make my daddy feel like, you know, a little small. We were those people, you know? And so she had 2 daughters. One, she tried to probably pay to get her in college and all that. Ooh, don't you taping me? Ooh, don't show this to my auntie. But what we ended up doing is, I was like, we are going to excel. We're going to get the straight A report cards. You can't, you know, don't matter. It don't matter how much your parents have if you apply yourself.
That's right.
Right? And so we excelled in school. And then we could excel in life, right? And so we really had the riches. So that's where I learned really quickly a couple of things. One, from my papa, who I really never knew. People say, well, who inspired you? I said, my papa. Because when I came to Brooklyn and saw the dilapidated mansion that is now a Quabbin Mansion. Has anybody been to a Quabbin Mansion? Have anybody seen it? Okay. This is a freestanding mansion right in the heart of Bedford-Stuyvesant, do or die. I've had it for 24 years as a bed and breakfast. I paid $225,000. See, I talk about money. It's okay, we can talk about money. I paid $225,000 for this mansion. It sits on 6 lots, which think about 6 brownstones, right? $225,000. And when I purchased it with the goal of doing a bed and breakfast, people looked at me as if I had 3 eyes. And I did. The third eye is the eye of vision.
That's right.
It's the ability to see the possibility.
That's right.
Right? And we must all have that third eye. I thought this. Again, this is the way we have to think about business. Here's what I thought. Well, I live in Brooklyn. All my family and friends are in D.C. When they come to visit, they have to stay out at the airport hotel or in Manhattan and spend most of their time back and forth on the A train to visit me. I'm living in a small apartment. I have no spare guest bedroom. So y'all live in Long Island. Y'all may have a guest bedroom. Most people, we don't have that space. There's no guest bedroom. Right? Then I looked a little closer and I said, well, Brooklyn, if it were a city unto itself, would be the 4th largest city in the country. Brooklyn, 4th largest. Go back 24 years with me now. There was no Brooklyn Marriott. There was no A-Loft. There were no major hotels in Brooklyn anywhere. So I said to myself, well, I could buy this mansion for $225,000. We can live on the top floor. We can create a bed and breakfast. I had stayed at them. I enjoyed them. We can create a bed and breakfast. The guests will end up paying the mortgage. And it shouldn't be that difficult to put heads on 4 beds. Then I thought, who wants to stay here? Well, the people who live in the neighborhoods, family and friends, because they don't want to do that long commute from the airport hotel or from the city. Then I thought, well, how do I let them know I'm here? I'm going to tell you that the church was my #1 friend in many ways. I went to every corner church, and we got them on every corner in Bed-Stuy. And I found out who was the busybody in the church. Y'all don't have to tell me who it is here. But every church has 1 or 2. I met the busybody in the church, invited them over for tea. gave them a tour. I said, so when you know that someone's planning to get married and has family coming in, we're here. So when you know that there's someone who has passed on in the church and families coming from everywhere for the funeral, we're here. So and I went to the funeral homes and did the same thing. So the people, and here's why. I had 4 rooms, but only 2 bathrooms. And I know y'all ain't trying to share bathrooms with no strangers. I understood that. You gotta know your customer. In Europe, most of the guest houses don't have private bathrooms in the room. And they're good with that. We're not good with that. So I thought, if I am dealing with people who are coming for a funeral or a wedding, they're gonna know each other. It's family. And they're okay with sharing the bathroom. Right? So I was booked immediately. Then here's what happened. I realized that people living in a high-pressured world like we do, everything's high-tech, high-pressured, guess what we need? High touch. So we almost invented the whole concept of staycation. Because people were coming from down the street, around the corner, through the tunnel, over the bridge. They were going nowhere but to my house. They didn't need to be in New York. They lived in New York. A lot of women came for their birthdays. Lord, just let me have a piece. Let me just not have to get up in the morning and make the breakfast. And these kids, can I use the bathroom in peace? They just wanted push back the world for a minute. Right? Push back the world for a minute. Peace, absolutely. That's who our core customers became. We still had our day jobs, right? I wasn't at Essence at first, but I ended up at Essence, and my husband was working. And so we couldn't afford to hire staff. We were doing it ourselves. So here's what we would do. When the phone would ring, we have to pre-qualify the customer. We're talking about pricing. I was talking with someone about this. It's like, I don't quote a price until I tell you what you're going to get. So the first question people are going to ask is, I saw your place, how much does it cost for a night? We're not answering that question. Where did you see it? Oh, because I'm coming for, oh my goodness, we are the closest lodging accommodations to Pratt. You can get to that school if you're going to go visit your kid in 5 minutes. In fact, why don't you have him come over while you're staying for breakfast? I'm sure he would appreciate a nice home-cooked meal because he's living in the dorm, right? You see what I've done there? I'm telling you, we're the most convenient. I'm telling you, bring your son with you, have an experience, have him come for breakfast, right? And once I give you all of that, then I'm going to say, and it's only $200 a night. And then there's no pushback. But if you call and you say, well, how much is it? You go, $200. Why? Because now in their head, they've never stayed in a bed and breakfast. They stayed at the Holiday Inn. The Holiday Inn is $129. So when you say $200, you shock them. They don't understand. You haven't justified your price yet. When they see the value in what you offer, then they go, that's a pretty good deal. Whole thing shifts. So that's what we do, right? So I lost my train. I was trying to tell you about we market it and how do you have to be creative, right? My friends who already have businesses will tell you that this is not an easy life. And as I said to you before, you're a problem solver every single day. Something's going to happen. When we had our reality show, when we were taping the show, you know, the producers, even though it's supposed to be unscripted, real life, just let the cameras fall, you know, they want to stir something up. Right. I'm an executive producer. I mean, we're not doing that. There is drama inherent in running a family-owned business. You don't have to make nothing up. It's going to happen, right? Yeah, the toilet backs up. You done made the pancakes. You dropped the whole platter on the floor. The people sitting out there ready to eat. And you're looking at them pancakes, going, "Can I kiss it up to God?" No, you can't do that, right? You can't, you know. Now you got to figure out what you do now, you know. You got staff who just don't want to do right, you know. So you don't have to manufacture that. This is real stuff. This is what we have to deal with. You got somebody walking in with a picture of a hairstyle, going, I want to look just like this. It's like, do you know you got a bald spot right here? You can't look just like that. But you got to figure out how we going to work with that. She doesn't want to be disappointed. She doesn't want to be told that her hair is not going to do that, right? You have to say, yeah, that's a beautiful hairstyle. But you know what? I have another one. I want just bear with me a second. I got something to show you. And you come with all that excitement, and you show her another option that her hair will do.
That's right.
I get asked questions like, we do a 4 o'clock tea every day at the bed and breakfast. My guests come in, I take them around, and I say, and we're going to have our 4 o'clock tea, and blah, blah, blah. And they go, well, what time is that going to be?
Because they've never had a 4 o'clock.
I just said 4 o'clock. You know, and you know my face, I want to go like, really? Really? You know, you take your breath and you go, oh, that's going to be at 4. Because your job is not to make somebody feel stupid. Because what you don't win. You don't win. You can't win with that. You can go back and tell your coworker what just happened, and y'all can have a good laugh about it, but not while the cameras are rolling. Right? Because you're protecting your brand. Right? So all of these things you have to problem solve. We have 5 locations now. We started in Bedford-Stuyvesant, in Brooklyn, we're in Washington, D.C., we're in Cape May, New Jersey, we're in Philadelphia, and we're in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. We had one in New Orleans. When did we open in New Orleans? What day? Thank you. Y'all are listening. All right, y'all are sharp. July 4th. Let's go back, and I don't know how many years now, but July 4th we opened in New Orleans during the Essence Music Festival. And a month later, an unexpected, uninvited guest showed up. What was her name? Katrina. Katrina. Can you imagine? I spent 3 months in New Orleans decorating, preparing, getting everything ready, and big grand opening July 4th. And 1 month later, here comes Katrina. You can't plan for that. You don't even, I don't even know New Orleans. I was like, someone said, it's like a under sea level. I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't even know, right? Katrina comes. And so now no one's coming to New Orleans. You still got to pay the mortgage. The insurance has doubled. The taxes have doubled because the tax base, the people have left the city. You still have to have the grass cut. You still have to have the pool cleaned. All of that still has to happen because at any moment somebody's going to drive by and say, we went, but it was raggedy. Still got to look like you're ready to do business. Even though we did not flood, the business drowned. Problem solve it. So I'm sitting there going like, well, who needs to be here? Got it. I called every single insurance company you've ever heard of. Allstate, Nationwide, all of them. Because I figured out that insurance adjusters were the people who needed to be there. They're going to come in droves because they've got to go and see all of those customers. What's all the damage? Fill out the claims. So we got contracts with all the insurance agencies, and they kept our place filled for 2 years. So it's about, you know, people say you get lemons, you got to make lemonade. I made lemon meringue pie. That's what I had to do. Yes. And that's what the entrepreneur has to do. And your job as the owner of the business is to be that problem solver. And everybody's going to bring you their problem. The customer's going to bring you their problem. The staff people are going to bring you their problem. And I'm very expressive. So I had to, work on my facial stuff. Because, my neck wants to do this and all kind of stuff. I'm like, just brace it, right? And you have to understand who gets to sit on the front row of your life, of your business. Now, my husband and I started Aquaba together. Why? Because we would travel together, and we would stay at B&Bs. We enjoyed it. At the time, we were into antiques. We loved that. The hospitality, he liked to cook. I was like, we can do this, honey. We wanted to have a house. We thought, well, let the people pay for the house. They can people downstairs. We live upstairs. This business is only going to cost us some eggs. We got to pay the mortgage anyway. And we get big tax write-offs. You know, we live in a quarter of the house, so 3/4 of the mortgage gets written off, tax write-off. We never get to use a full roll of toilet paper, but that's okay, because you know, a whole bag of the ends, you know, when you go in the hotel, you don't want a little bit, so that's what we get. But that just makes sense. So we're doing this thing together. It's all sweet. You know, honey, did you get that? Yeah, we're having a good time. Then I have this vision that I want a home that I love in a city that I love for each season of the year. So you heard somebody talk about a business plan. I'm a big proponent of a life plan. Don't just let it happen. Make it happen. What are you going to claim for yourself? The girl who never slept in a bed by herself until she was 24 because there was always her sister pushed up underneath her. And we were always full-size, sleeping in a full-size bed. That doesn't work. Right? And so the audacity to have that vision of, I want a home that I love in a city that I love each season of the year. The bed and breakfast is going to be the way that that's going to happen. And I remember when I woke up in the middle of the night with the thought of doing that. I said, how am I going to tell him, the person laying next to me, how am I going to get him to buy into this? So I woke him up and I said, honey, wouldn't it be great if we could have a house that we love, blah, 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 blah. Where you want to be? Because you got to get the buy-in. This is the same thing you have to do when you go to the bank, when you go to the customer. Where would you want to be? He's the one who said New Orleans. I never wanted to be in New Orleans. He said New Orleans. I was like, okay, all right. So we had to do New Orleans. From a business perspective, it never made sense because I got to get on the plane to get to New Orleans. I got a pickup truck right in your parking lot here. I'm in 3 cities every week. I just came from the Poconos. 2 days before that was in Philly. Tonight I'll go to Brooklyn. I can't do that in New Orleans. But I said, you want New Orleans, honey? Okay. I'm going to do these other things. We'll make New Orleans happen, right? And so we went there, right? But your business plan has to marry your life plan. And this makes sense for us. People think, oh my goodness, you must be so rich. You got $1 million mansions. I just go, $1 million mortgages. Again, the misconception, when people think you have a business, they think you're rich. They see the income. They don't see the expense. So with my staff, I let them see it all. Because I already know they count my money. Every quarter I'm late with your paycheck on purpose. I'm apologizing. But I don't want you to think this thing is easy. I could pay you on time, but once a quarter you're going to be late. I'm going to be late. It's coming the same day, but at like 5 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. And I'm going to be running around going, whoo, here you go. You can't think it's easy. No. Because y'all not counting the expense side. You're sitting there going like, wow, we got 14 rooms. We had a full house this weekend, right? They know it costs $225 a night. They go, shoot, she just now caked like $5,000 in 2 days. I leave the bills sitting around too. I do that. Did you see a stack of them? I left my mail somewhere. I know they looked at it good. That was the whole intention. This is the reality of this. But here's the other reality. I get to check my emails in my pajamas in the middle of the night if I want to. I don't have to pretend to be sick because I need a day off. Come on now. Some of y'all are like, I'm not, I have to do that, right? I'm going to Ghana next week. I'm so excited because I've been perpetrating the fraud for 24 years, calling my business Aquaba. I've never been on the continent. I'm going. So excited. Yes. Yes. I asked some girlfriends to go, and then she was like, let me see, I only got 3 more days, and I got to be off. I want to be off for Christmas. I can't go. I can't live like that. I don't want nobody to tell me when it's lunchtime when I'm hungry. You know? And so I'm saying to you, this is important. Now, not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur. That's just, I don't want to mislead you, right? I've said it's not easy. I've said it has its rewards, but not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur. When my husband and I started together, and we were doing it was so sweet, and we were the young couple running the bed and breakfast, everything was wonderful, and then I had the crazy idea to expand. Then we opened one in Cape May, that was the second one, on the Jersey Shore. That summer, I went and worked the one on the Jersey Shore. He was working the one in Brooklyn. It was no longer fun for him. Because he's like, wait, what? I didn't realize how traditional he was. Because he always wore funky haircuts and stuff. I was like, he's a pretty cool guy. He's pretty traditional. He was raised by a military man. You know, he was like, when we going to sit down? We're going to sit down and eat dinner. I'm like, huh? So all that started coming out. Then he started to resent the business. Then we had to get real. There's a lot of things we do very well together. Working together isn't one of them. Because we have a different work ethic. I'm like you, my sister. I'm there 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I work 7 days a week. I absolutely do. You know, into the night. He worked for a union. Big difference. You have to have a mandatory break. It's mandatory. People get fined, big dollars, if you don't step off and go take a break. I'm like, what are we doing? It's a mindset. We're going to have to change the mindset. Don't do this to your children and your grandchildren. Open their minds to the possibility. Because we're not going to get free, y'all, until we own something. That's just the reality. Yeah. Biggest mistake I made when we were working the thing together is that I didn't put his money in a paycheck. Had I said, okay, it's Friday, here's your paycheck, he'd probably still be working for the business. Because he equated the work and the effort with the paycheck. The entrepreneur understands that you get paid in so many other ways than the paycheck. You take an owner's draw. I don't give myself a paycheck now. But if I love those shoes, I'm going to go buy them. Right. It's an owner's draw. Yeah. It's a different mindset. Right. And what we're really doing, you know, they say with McDonald's, they're not in the hamburger business. They're in the real estate business. That's what I'm in. I'm in the hospitality business, yeah. But I'm in the real estate business. The real estate, these ends, it's the value. I told you $225,000 24 years ago, Bed-Stuy. What do you think happening in Bed-Stuy right now? That's right. The last offer I got was $7 million. Yeah, that's right. $7 million on a $225,000 investment. Where do you get that kind of return? You don't. My banker friend knows. Real estate is the only thing that's going to do that for you. That's it. And while you're running your business, you all had an interesting dialogue that made me think about not only are you a problem solver, but you must change with the times because there are going to be industry disruptors. The question was, What magazines? Black magazine. That day has passed. There will be no more black print publications. There'll be very few white print publications. So as my friend here said, and I remember your byline, absolutely, you have to shift. And no one respects the journalist anymore. Anybody with a blog thinks they're a journalist. Any artist with a song thinks they're an actor. You know, people who go to drama school and all of that, they can't get the part because Beyonce's she's going to be Nyla. I'm just telling you. So you have to understand what's happening constantly. I have my retail strip that you heard about. I try to have businesses, tenants. I did what I call Section 8 for retail.
Wow.
And I've been trying to get policy passed. So there's something just like that, because our storefronts, like my friends here with the restaurant, they can't survive, not just if you don't come and patronize them, but if the landlord takes the rent up triple because a neighborhood got hot, you're out of business. That's it. So I'm saying I bought the block, and I'm going to handpick the people who are going to be in here. And I'm going to prove to you that I'm going back now, that black business can be successful in our community. That we will support you. You want this lease? You got to be a part of my business association. We're going to meet monthly, and we're going to check you. I came by at 11 o'clock because your sign said 11 o'clock. And the gates were down. What's happening?
Come on now.
What's happening? You said that you were going to be you were going to have your cafe here. Then your business got hot, and you got 6 restaurants. You turned my space into your corporate headquarters. This is not an office. This is not supposed to be an office. Commerce. This is people in and out the door, right? You want this lease? We do a tree lighting ceremony every Christmas at the park. You got to put the money in for that. We do a street sidewalk sale. Bring your stuff outside. It comes with conditions, right? And with those conditions, now you're going to pay half the market rent for the first 2 years, because we need you to get on your feet. We do the street fair because we're looking to see who's out there selling, making stuff out their homes, who's ready to transition into a storefront. So we've got to see, are people responding to what it is you're selling? Are you running your little stand, your table, nothing but a table, the way I think you can run your business? Then you can get the lease. And things turn over. My industry, nobody thought of a bed and breakfast in an urban area 24 years ago. That was the Bob Newhart show. That's the country. Small, charming town. That's not Bed-Stuy, right? Now, what? My next door neighbor got an Airbnb. 5 of them over here down the street. 3 are around the corner. Everybody's doing it. Airbnb. I got to help people understand we're not an Airbnb. We got fresh air. But you're not sleeping on an air mattress. And Airbnb, there's no second B. Nobody's giving you breakfast. That's an industry disruptor. They came in, they co-opted the name, confused the consumer, charged half of what I charge. Now I got to start all over again, helping you understand what a B&B really is, why it's different, why it's special, and then I got to go down and testify before city council because they want to shut their Airbnbs down. They hide behind it. You don't get to know where the address is until you pay. You know, that's how it works, right? I got ads, I got websites, I got commercials, I got all that stuff. So they go, oh, here they are. These are the Airbnbs. They come after me and the other law-abiding, tax-paying bed and breakfast where the owner occupies the property. So now we got to put together our own association. And we have to help city council understand why we're not them and why the law has to have a workaround to protect us. Because we've been paying your taxes since 24 years now. So this is what we're talking about, right? I want to take a minute to take some questions because I love that. I'm transparent. I know I haven't met Oprah. But whatever question you have, I would love to answer. And then I just want to encourage you to think about this path. I'm not saying tomorrow, Monday, go and quit your job. I am not saying that. It took me a minute to feel the confidence to do that, right? And you can't necessarily expect a job that you've been working or profession that you've been in for God knows how many years to pay you on day one, your business to pay you on day one what they paid you. That's unrealistic. But your raises are going to be better. And your life, quality of life, might very well be better. So it's something to think about. But if you've been working in a union, like my husband, maybe don't think about it. But let me take some questions from you guys. Yes.
Your business is black-owned business. You need a mic.
Look, she's like,
Yes.
What percentage of your clientele or your customer base, say that there's a difference, is black?
That's a very good question. So when we started, we purposely chose a name it's Aquaba. People couldn't spell it. It made sense in many ways, in some ways it didn't. It made sense because Aquaba means welcome in Ghana, West Africa. So it was relevant to the business that we do. It was culturally connected to who we are. It started with an A, which made us first on most lists because they're alphabetized. That's why we chose the word. The downside of it was, nobody was able to Google 24 years ago. You'd have to call directory assistants, and you'd have to know how to spell it. And people would say A-Q-U. People still call it Aquabi, bread and breakfast. No, bed, there's a bed, breakfast. They just mess it all up. So at the beginning, it was tough, right? So we knew who we were catering to. We have antiques, beautiful pieces, but they're upholstered in African fabrics. We have art on the walls that reflect our beauty. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to create a space where people could come into Bedford-Stuyvesant, because I'm really about community building, and feel like, wow, all that I heard is just not true. Not only are there beautiful brownstones in Bed-Stuy, but they're beautiful brown people. How about that? So that was what we were trying to do, right? So yes, initially 100% of our customers were black. What changed? The neighborhood. Gentrification. Okay? Now, culturally, you have to understand culturally, right? First of all, we will get up out of our bed and let mama and daddy sleep in our bed. We will do that. We will get the blow-up mattress and give them our room. Okay? The others don't do that. They're like, where mommy and daddy gonna stay? They're not giving up their bed. Right? So they come because of the changing neighborhood. There's so many young non-black families, and so a big percentage of our guests are parents who are coming to visit their newborn grandchildren because they've used their trust fund and they've bought their house, but they got tenants living there and they need somewhere to stay. So that has shifted completely, and now in Brooklyn, probably 70% of my guests are non-black. 70%. Because we allow European guests as well, so they book in advance. Their traveling patterns. Here's what we do. Oh, you got a room tomorrow because it's my wife's birthday. I'm like, what, really? Dude. The European customer has to book that out 6 months. We don't have a room tomorrow. for your wife's birthday. You know, we try to make it right. We go, is her birthday really tomorrow? Because tomorrow is on a Saturday. You know that, right? Tomorrow's always a Saturday, which everybody wants. And so my answer is, because my company philosophy is, the answer is yes. I don't care what the question is. I'm trying to get to the yes. Well, is her I know we're booked. Is her birthday actually tomorrow? No, it's on Monday. Okay. So how about we have you come on Sunday, then she can wake up here for her birthday on Monday. Well, she has to go to work. I get that. How about we do an early breakfast in bed? And then she can head off. Oh, we could do the breakfast in bed? Yeah. And it's her birthday, man. She wants to do it on her birthday. Then I get the booking, right? But because of all of those things, it's a shift. Now, in the Poconos, where there's not even 1% African American or of any color where we are, almost 100% of our guests are black. And they don't know the town we're in or anything. So that says to me, they respect and appreciate that it's black owned. So I always kind of wince when I hear people say we don't support each other, because I'd be out of business if it wasn't for us. Yes, we do support each other. It works both ways, though. We're not going to be late. If breakfast is at 9, breakfast is at 9. We're going to work to, like, how do we blow your mind? We're listening. I had a guest who said, oh my God, I feel like I'm craving peppermint patties. I haven't had peppermint patties since I was a teenager. We heard that. We're going to spend the whole afternoon looking for peppermint patties. When they come back home from dinner, they're going to be on the nightstand in the room. That didn't cost us anything but care, right? And so that's what does it. So it has shifted. There have been times, you know, and I've done public appearances and things like that, and, you know, I'll get this little white lady who comes up and goes, it sounds so nice now. Of course, I'm not black. Can I come? You just want to go, really? Really? You fix your face. And you say, well, of course you can. Everyone is welcomed. And then in your head you're going, is your money green? That's what I want to know. Is your money green? You know? You get people, I have had, my innkeeper in Philadelphia is an Asian woman. I was getting nervous about that. Right? I was like, sheesh, you know, I'm not there. The black people, because the people come and say, I thought this was a black-owned place. Immediately, because she's Asian. Right. Until she makes her grits, then they'd be like, oh. You know? But you know, is it my preference? Yes, to hire us. But if us ain't gonna show up on time, us ain't gonna have a job. Right? So that's how that race piece plays out. Any other questions? Yes.
How do you handle someone walking in and says, it's the owner here, do you make yourself present? You know, like us be humble, like someone walking in the barbershop, I would say, I would not even address myself.
And why is that?
The humbleness.
Humble?
That's just.
Okay. That's what you think it is. But I'm going to tell you it's not. No. People want a personal connection. You and your wife just talked about what happens when somebody is in your head. They want a personal connection. So they get so excited when they discover that they're talking to the owner. So I absolutely make that known. Now, I'll be honest with you. Because of the profile that I have as an owner, right? Listen, I'm still a small business. So there was, last week I was working in the Poconos. I gave my innkeeper off, and it was just me. And it was only 3 rooms, 6 people. I could do that with my eyes closed. So I told them I had him off, and I made their breakfast, and I put the breakfast down. Then I thought about it, because aspiration is important too. So when they look at you with your business, you give them something to aspire to. something better than other role models who have a business selling products that kill us. Right? So you don't want to rob them of that aspiration. So when I put the breakfast in front of them, and I'm okay with claiming that I cooked it, and I did, and I put it in front of them, and while they start to eat, I run upstairs, and now I'm cleaning their toilet. I'm making their bed. I'm the housekeeper. I try not to let them see me do that. Because what I discovered, one woman said, I feel so, oh my goodness, I shattered her image. I blew a hole right through her aspiration. She told me, I've always admired you, and I just want to, one day be able to, and she didn't want to see me cleaning her toilet. So I learned that I have to hide some of the things that small business owners know we have to do to make things work and go. So, but I have friends. I have 2 black women who are friends of mine who own B&Bs. They allow their guests to think, one of them has a Filipino innkeeper. They allow their guests to believe that she's the owner. I think that's horrible. I just can't even. I said, why do you do that? She said, well, the majority of my customers are white, and I think they would have a problem if they knew I was the owner. But then they don't need to stay here. Let them go down the street. I don't want that customer at my place. And I don't think she's right? There are certain things that the others will allow us to do. They probably won't allow you to do their hair. And you probably won't allow them to do yours. So there's some things that are a little sticky, right? But listen, we birth their babies. Come on now. We feed their babies. We clean their houses. I'm doing the same thing. We're cleaning your room. We cook for them. They know we know how to do comfort. They're okay with that. Good service, that's all that matters. Right now, every single butt in the bed, in my bed and breakfast in the Poconos, is Jewish. Because I'm surrounded by these very elite Jewish camps. And this is visitation weekend. So I went up there Friday, because they come every year. These are my same customers for 7 years. And they're pushy. I'm not being stereotypical. It's just me right now. And I can shut them down, because they know I'm the owner. They're not going to try that. Guy went behind my bar. It's like, what you need back there? What's happening? I saw you had some water bottles. Yeah, those are $2 a bottle. Y'all just add it to your bill. He said, you charging for the water? I said, no, not for the water in the water cooler, but the water in the bottles behind my bar. Those are $2 a bottle. Yeah. I have one that has to leave early. She said, I can't stay tonight. Could I be refunded? I said, she said, because my mother, she said, I just figured under the circumstances, my mother had to have surgery on Monday. I said, oh, did you take out traveler insurance? Because she goes, well, I just figured that, I'm a good customer. I've been coming for the last 5 years. I said, and I appreciate it. I really do. But I've held this room for you for a year. They book on the way out the door. They're booked for next year. I said, I've held this room for you for a year. I've turned away so many customers. And as a small business, this is the biggest weekend of the year for me. I can't afford not to do that, because I can't explain that to my staff. I can't do that. I said, and I would be setting a precedent. And believe me, she would go and tell her friends. And 2 of them weren't staying either. They said, we're going to get on back. After we leave camp today, we're going to head back. We're not going to stay tonight. I said, okay. Gave me their keys, and they know they're going to get charged. You get charged. And they didn't expect not to, but she did. Now, if I didn't charge her, she's going to go tell them. How's it right that they pay and she doesn't pay? Because her mother, not her, has to have surgery on Monday. What do you have to do to prepare for that? Yeah. Yes. We have 14 guest rooms in the Poconos. We have a 7-room spa. We have a 10,000 square foot recreational facility that's like a high school gym with basketball court. We have tennis courts. We have an in-ground heat Olympic-sized pool. We have a demonstration cooking kitchen, seminar room, movie room, game room. So we're really set ourselves up kind of like a boutique resort. And we do lots of retreats, and we do lots of lovers getaways, because we all need to be refueled and all of that good stuff. So yeah, that property is a former Woolworth estate, and I just want you to just let that marinate for a second. Most of you know what Woolworths is. For those who don't, my friend, that's like Walmart in the day, right? Woolworths is really the home of the civil rights movement. You couldn't sit at that counter. My grandmother, who lived to be 102, the last thing she said to me was like, I remember when I couldn't sit at the counter at Woolworths. Now my baby girl is all up in their mansion, and we both did this, you know.
Maybe I missed it, but what inspired you to open up a bed and breakfast? Because that's not custom with our kind. So what is?
Well, I enjoy staying at B&Bs as a guest. And I love creating experiences. I love decorating. I'm a closet interior designer. That really, I started my career as a fashion editor. So I just like to dress the house. Home Goods is my happy place. But you know, so, and then I believe that real estate is the best financial investment you can make. So doing this was a way to invest in real estate, live in this house, and have the 4 houses for each season. So that's how it happened. Yeah.
You talked earlier about problem solving. What would you say was the most difficult or challenging for customers?
See, again, that's why my husband don't work in the business and I do, because he would just be like, you want your money back? He's not going to try to solve that problem. He's just going to like, give them the money, give them their money back. You know, and I would do that. I think that, we talked about this too, like customers would treat you the way you allow them to treat you. It's just like as a woman, the way you let a man treat you. I told my daughter since she was 10, you ain't no holler back girl. I told her when she started having boys call the house, they had to call before 9 o'clock. I said, you prime time. As you get older, the calls after 9 turn into another kind of call. I didn't say you had to be in bed by 9, but this phone can't ring after 9. You tell them your prime time. Call the next one after 9. Right? So that's really it. You know, I think when I see a problem coming in the door, here's a problem that happens quite a bit. It's not really a problem. It's not my problem, right? The woman typically has made the reservation. The guy is what I call a drag-in. That's exactly what I call him. He don't understand why we coming all the way up here to somebody's house. What, you know, he don't get any of this, right? And so I then go and alert my whole team. I said, we got a drag-in. So we know we got to work on him. We got to turn him around. They become our best customer. In Brooklyn, for example, we don't have TVs in the guest rooms. Because 24 years ago, that's what bed and breakfasts were like. They didn't have TV, so I didn't put a TV. Since I put them in all the others, but I never did it in Brooklyn. Now I got to pay more cable bill. Now I got to worry about how loud they're going to play it. Are they going to disturb the people in the room next to? I just like, we're just not going to do it. So when the guys walk in, they go like, I see them looking. They just real fast. I was like, okay. I said, we have a TV room, you know, blah blah blah. Yeah, but I think it's how you walk through life. I just don't receive that. And when it's coming, I go, let's get ready to dance. And my husband, he, like I said, he can't do that. He says to me, it's a nickname for me. You know what it is? Ta-da. Yep, that's right. Doorbell rings, I'm like, ta-da, it's showtime.
Yes. Yes.
I'm like, get golf clubs, you know. I got all these crazy rules. 9 o'clock, don't flush the toilet after 9 o'clock. I don't want them to hear the water running down the pipes from our house. It's kind of crazy. He's all excited. What day are we not going to have any guests? Because I really want some fish. Because I won't let him fry fish when the guests. I mean, I just. So, I mean, it's little things. I think probably I don't like disrespect. So anything that feels disrespectful is hard for me. So the difficult guests probably, I don't know why this stays with me, because this is years ago. I've been waiting on this couple. They told me they were coming at 2, which is check-in. It was a beautiful summer day. My husband wanted to go out. I couldn't go because I had to wait for the guests to come. And, you know, that's an intrusion. They showed up at 10 o'clock at night. I had already taken my clothes off. I threw the dress back on, but I didn't put my shoes back on. I walked down. I was like I was trying to get to the door before they woke up everybody else in the house. And she walked in, and she did this. And she said, "No shoes?" I said, "Girl, you lucky I got on the clothes." I said, "I was just getting into bed." I said, "You said you were coming at 2, and it's 10 o'clock. And she said, whatever she did with her mouth, you know, that's. And I just backed on up. I said, "Let me take you up to your room. You all must be tired too, because it's 10 o'clock. You know, you just figure out a way to get it in there, you know, because I'm not going to be disrespected. You undressed me when I just put this dress on because you 10 hours late. Yeah, yeah.
How is it that you do marketing?
Yeah, I'm always thinking about marketing. I was always, where's my friend? Did she have to leave? She brought her T-shirt with her.
Oh, yeah. I saw her downstairs.
Yes, she was here earlier. She stayed at my Philadelphia location. Her daughter brought her for Mother's Day. She came here today with her T-shirt. Yeah, she came. She had her Aquaba T-shirt. We got it all blinged out. You know, it says Aquaba. You know, marketing is everything.
It is.
So when we first opened, right, we didn't have that many customers, and we both had our day jobs, I think I told you. So we pretty much could only cater to guests on the weekends when we weren't at work. So here's what we did. When people would call and they wanted to come on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night or a Thursday night, we had to pre-qualify the call. By that I mean, they said, "Well, we want to come on Tuesday night." I go, "Oh my God, okay, what brings you to our area?" They said, "Oh, I have to be at a conference, or I have a meeting in the morning, or blah, blah, blah." I said, "Oh, absolutely, let's get you all set up." Because I knew they would be on the same time frame as me. They got to go to work too. When they said that, "Oh, it's my wife's birthday or it's my anniversary on Tuesday," I go, "Oh, I'm so sorry, we're fully booked. Can we put you in for Saturday?" And so they said, "Oh, we can't do Saturday. Oh, we're fully booked." Or maybe I was already booked on Saturday, so I'm sorry, we're fully booked. People want what they can't have. That was marketing. I could have said, "Oh, we can't do Tuesday because we got to be at work and we wouldn't be able to make the breakfast and I said, "Oh, we're fully booked." So what happened? The word got out. That place is always booked. That's good PR. We weren't booked. We just couldn't handle it. Yeah. So we start with that, right? Then we were, you know, with the website, internet became a game changer for my business because 24 years ago there was no website, there was no internet, so it had to be word of mouth, right? So that was tricky. When the internet came about, we were on the same playing field with Marriott. We can reach everybody that Marriott can reach, everybody that Hilton could reach. Social media is powerful. I'm a writer. And so I was a late converter to that medium because I can't do anything in 140 characters, you know. I struggled with that, right? And I don't understand young people with the social media. I'm like, where's your period? I don't. You didn't spell that right. What's this abbreviation? I mean, it took me the longest time to know what SMH meant. I had no idea. I was like, what is this SMH stuff? So I was just a late converter, and I made, you know, having a social media presence my business New Year's resolution every single year for 3 years. Then I got honest with myself and said, "You're never going to do this." So then I had to hire somebody to do it. And we're out there every day, something. Guess what? I still write it. But then, I want her to post it. Because I'd have to go get my glasses and, sit there and try to. So I take the pictures, I send the copy. I know a good story when I see one. So I'm sending her stuff all the time, but she puts it up and schedules it and all that kind of stuff. She does the hashtags and the stuff I don't know. But I come up with the content. I know the content. So that's really important. I'm telling my story to anybody I can. I'm meeting anybody I can. I'm not going to be afraid to walk up and say, how are you? What's your name? Tiffany, is it? Ashley, my event designer. She said she's doesn't like the network. I was like, you got to. You got to. We ask for the business, and that's the other thing. My sisters and brothers who are in business are thinking about it. You ask for what you need. That's in life. How many of us walk and we're hurting and we need help, and the person that can help is sitting right next to you, but you didn't tell them. You didn't tell them that you had a need. What do you say? Knock and the door shall be open? Come on now. You got to take off the cape. Say, I'm not good at this. How can you help me with this? The numbers. When I went once for the bank loan for the Poconos project. Everything else I bootstrapped. Right? I do everything. Barter. You do what? Event? When do you want to have your own event? You can do this. I need you to come next week and decorate for the block. What can we do? How do we barter? Because that goes back to our culture. It doesn't cost us no money. You got a skill that I need, I got one that you need. How can we make that work? Right? So I believe in that kind of thing. But, the social media, being out there, networking, I believe that you have to be visible. You will never not know that my business is black owned. Someone said, how do you know? Because you got to show up. You take out the little ad in the AKA's journal. You got to do all that stuff. Delta, okay, that's actually who we advertise. You got to do that. But guess what I do? When they ask for the gift certificate or whatever, I say, yeah, you got to come pick it up. The president has to pick it up. They got to see it. That's exactly right. So there's ways that we have to, be smart about what we have to do. And whatever opportunity you can think of. My husband and daughter did not want to do the reality show. Absolutely no. How did I get them to do it? I'm pretty good. Well, with my husband, I said, you don't have to, you just be you. You don't have to, just be you. He said, because they wanted the family-owned business. He said, but I don't work for the business. I said, yep, they'll see that too. So there's those lots of scenes where I'm like, you think you could change the light bulb? And he goes, and I go, that sound, don't take that breath. That breath drives me crazy.
So was it your idea to have a reality show first, or did they see your business and then say, wow,
Yeah.
we think that this is a good idea and own?
So what happened very quickly is Bravo was looking for a new reality show, similar to a show that they have called Below Deck. And they had the requirements of what kind of show they wanted, and they put that out to the production companies. So within the span of a week, we got 7 or 8 different calls from different production companies who said, we think you'd be perfect for a reality show. And what they were looking for was a small business in the hospitality space. Check. They wanted it to be family run. Somewhat of a check. They wanted it to be black owned or color. Check. They wanted the woman or the mama to be the head of the business. Check. And they wanted her to be outspoken. Check, 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 check. So the production companies called us. We ended up signing with Lionsgate.
Okay, so that's Tyler Perry's.
Well, that's who produces a lot of Tyler Perry. That's not his company, but it produces a lot of his stuff. And then they package you in what's called a scissor reel. So it's like a 15-minute excerpt of what the show would be, and then they didn't send it just to Bravo, they also sent it other places, and when Oprah saw it, she was like, yes, I want that show.
Okay,
so that's how it happened.
My next question is, like, if you're a writer, there's a platform, me and Sister Nash just talked about Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to. What have mercy. Okay, so what I was saying is, I was saying to Sister Nash downstairs, does she know about Help a Reporter Out? And what that is that's a platform for writers. And she was like, yeah, Kim, da-da-da, so I said, oh, okay. So I was wondering if there was a platform, because that's how you get on ABC, you get a publicist and all this other stuff. But, so that's a whole nother talk show. But is there a platform to even be in that?
So we don't have a publicist. Some companies work with publicists. We don't do that. What I believe is media begets media.
Right.
So, nobody wants to be, beat out on a story. So when we did our Philadelphia location most recently, we did a press release, and we targeted who we wanted first, because people don't want to follow people.
Right.
So we went to the daily newspaper first, and then we went to the TV stations, and with our press release. But then they would just call us because they saw it on so-and-so, so they wanted the story. And we have to help them understand how they can shape their story a little bit differently.
Wow.
So it just kind of worked out. But when you set yourself up, and this is the thing, for anybody who's in business, you need to be the thought leader, the expert in your industry.
Right.
That's going to make all the difference in the world.
Right.
And you do that by having a specialty. So let's say that in your barbershop, you are the guy that cuts off people's locks after years. You have some kind of ritual that you do, or maybe even because locks are a very spiritual thing, right? And so when people decide to cut them off, they want to release some baggage, they want to get rid of the weight, some dead weight, all these things. You package that, and then you do that. Sometimes you come up with the $500 haircut. No one will ever buy it, but then that becomes a story. Everybody wants to know, what does the $500 haircut look like? That becomes a story. So you got to figure it can't just be run of the mill. We just did the new project that we did is coming on MSNBC, CNBC. It's just an episode. And it's a new show called, their working title is 5-Day Flip, where they go into a business and they try to see if you have any underutilized space that can be reworked to a new revenue stream, right? So they called us and they said, what space can we love you, we love your story, what space do you have that we can kind of convert? Is there like a lunchroom for the staff, or is there like a coat room, or what can we? And I was like, I use every inch of my space. And I really didn't know what to suggest to them until I thought about the yard. On one side has a huge chestnut tree, so that we can't grow grass because it's too shady. The other side, we made a courtyard. We do our weddings and events on that side. But this side, it really turned into my husband's Sanford and Son thing. Be the bikes, I got one in my car, all kind of crap, that just the junkyard. That's what it turned into. I said, there's that space. So then they came over there. So I said, here's what my vision is for that space. If you can do this, let's do it. I wanted to do glamping in the city, because she's shaking her head. Young people want an experience. So I said, I want some fabulous tents. I want the tents, I want an outdoor fireplace, I want a living room. I want it to feel like an apartment outside. So that's what we created. It's going to look amazing. We have a living room outside with a huge movie screen, like this size, that we can do outdoor movies. And there's an outdoor fireplace, there's a dining room, there's an outdoor kitchen. We have 2 glamping tents with chandeliers in them and, bed furniture. It's beautiful. And so we just added that. So that'll be the September episode. And so the newest thing that we're doing is really trying to curate artisan home decor, either imported from Africa or made by African Americans. So we've been, the best plates, all this stuff we've cultivated and curated, and we're going to do an online shop for that. But we also got that in on hopefully it doesn't hit the cutting floor, because we want to launch our website for that at the same time that the episode airs. Yeah.
Quick question. Did you find it easier at your level to continue to expand because you have such a presence and you have, something established that can show that you have, what you got? Or was it harder for you to start off with nothing at the beginning? You know what I mean? Because I could see how it would be easy for you to continue and to expand, but I'm thinking to myself, how does a person start with nothing to show on paper?
Yeah.
So,
You remember, I had to just buy the property. What I'm doing, you can't have a bed and breakfast without having the building.
Right.
And when I went to the bank, I did not tell them that I was going to have the bed and breakfast. I told them I wanted to buy it as my family home, which meant that I got a lower interest rate, which meant I had to put less money down for the down payment, which meant because I was in Bed-Stuy, the banks get credits and have to offer a lower amount down in certain areas because they got in trouble with redlining. It's called Community Redevelopment Act, it's a CRA credit or whatever. We just did all that. So we're always we're doing that research to figure out, okay, we can do it this way, we do it this way, We would, we bought properties, sometime the first one was in my name, the second we bought it in my husband's name, can we get a first homeowners, anything we can figure out, they have to be strategic about it is what I'm saying. So yeah, the first one wasn't hard. We bought it as our home. We felt like if we, weren't successful with the business, we would just still live there. And so that wasn't hard. But because of the purchase of that, we were able to then take the equity out of that had built into that and buy the next one. Right. Okay? Now, by the time we buy the next one, we reveal this is what we're doing, and we have a track record. Right. This is the one we already have. We know how to do this. I went to the innkeeper's workshop. I interned at the bed and breakfast. We have what it takes, and we can show that. The final one, the one in the Poconos, which was a really big project that we couldn't really bootstrap. I had to go and get lots of money. We did like almost a $2 million restoration on that building. Right. I wasn't good with talking that talk, so I did a program, 10,000 small businesses. You ought to take advantage of that. It's Goldman Sachs puts that program out, 10,000 small businesses. And basically, you are doing, you do a growth project, a growth plan. Instead of a business plan, it's a growth plan. And you say, how are you going to exponentially grow your business? And you work on that plan, and you have your cohorts, the other people in the group, and they become amazing resources for you. And so I did that, and I was selected from that to get a consultant from, what's Deloitte, what's the name of the, they're a big business consulting strategy company. So they chose me to get one of these consultants, which I could, Booz Allen Hamilton, that's who it is, which I could never have paid for that, right? And he said, well, you're sharp and savvy, you know what you're doing, blah, blah. I said, I don't. I almost didn't get into the program. And you know why they didn't want to accept me? They told me they wouldn't tell me until the program was over. I had told several people, everybody got their acceptance letters, they hadn't called. I called and said, oh, we're not, I said, no, that's not true, because I sent 3 people and they're all accepted. I know the letters went out. They said, well, we're going to get back to you. And they came back to me like the day before it started. I felt like you don't feel good about that. So what is that about? And I remember coming out of the interview, because you had this panel of people who interview you, and I walked out, I was like, I killed it. I know I killed that. Feeling good about it. And then that happened. And I got to know one of the counselors. I said, hey, this is what happened. What happened there? And she said, I'll tell you on graduation day. That thing bothered me so badly because I don't do rejection. So then I got chosen to do the speech for the graduation, the whole kind of thing. As soon as I came off the stage, I said, okay, what is it? What happened? What was going on? They said they felt that you already knew what you needed to know. They felt that you would create an imbalance in the classroom and make some of the other entrepreneurs feel intimidated by what you already know and what you've already accomplished. Guess what I learned from that? I'm way too good with my smoke and mirrors. Because you walk through the world and people tell you got to be twice as good and, you know, fake it till you make it and all that stuff. And I went in there and I killed it. I killed it all right. Almost killed the opportunity because they were like, she don't need this. But I did. I needed it desperately. So what I really needed to do is to be more vulnerable. I needed to say, I'm really weak here. This all looks good. The bank knew it when I went up there. I took the guy. I said, this is what I need help with. I need the numbers. I don't know. I'm not confident. I don't understand. I don't know how to really read this sheet, this profit loss statement that I pay the bookkeeper to do every month.
Right.
I don't know what these numbers really mean to my business.
Right.
So we go up there, go up to the bank, and he's there. I said, here's the code. I'm going to twitch twice. That means jump in. So I'm talking, I'm doing the whole thing, I'm selling my passion. That's what I'm selling. My vision and my passion. When he started asking about the numbers, I did my twitch. And the guy said, well, what Ms. Greenwood is trying to say, I said, that's exactly what Ms. Greenwood is trying to say. And he did that piece. He did that piece that I wasn't good at, right? So that, you know, you gotta be able to show that. I went back to that same bank. There's a cute little brown house at the gate entry to my business. Used to be the gatehouse for the mansion. My neighbor had lived there for 40 years. I met her as soon as I came, loved the house. I told her, we went to lunch, I said, if you ever decide to sell your house, let me know. She said, okay. And she said, but I'm never gonna move. I've been here for 40 years, blah, blah, blah. She called me 3 years after I was there, said she was gonna marry the man that she'd been dating for 20 years. And he has a farm and she's gonna move there, she's gonna sell the house that I wanna buy. Timing was terrible, didn't have the money, couldn't do it. Told her as much. She said, well, I'm going to market it in New York as a weekend country house. I said, okay. I said, that's a tenant, that's a neighbor I could probably live with. They're only going to be here on the weekends. They're going to pay twice as much as they should have because that's what she asked me for, way more than what it was worth. So I said, I'll do that. Time passed, 2-3 months passed, and then I saw a for sale sign in the yard from a local realtor, Chant. They don't know nobody in New York. I'm like, what? And then I had a nightmare that night, that the wrong people purchased it at the entrance to my building, right? 6 guys with 10 teeth between them, working on beat-up trucks and stray dogs and moonshine and country music and babies with dirty diapers, and it was just a nightmare. I woke up in a hot sweat. I went back down to the bank, that same banker. I said, we have a problem. He said, what's the problem? I said, our investment is at stake. That building, that house right at the entrance is for sale. If the wrong people buy it, everything we've done to make this thing work is down the tubes. What are we going to do? He said, well, what can you do? I said, I can do like 5%. He said, let me go to the board and see what they can do. Came back and said, Ms. Greenwood, we're gonna work this out. You got 5%? I said, I can come up, I can scrape together 5%. Then I had to go tell my husband, who didn't want to take on any more debt. He was like, I thought we were done. You said 1 for each season, we had 5. There's only 4 seasons the last time I checked. So I had to go ask about this house. So then I used my only thing that I could use, which was my daughter, because, you know, she's a daddy's girl. She had graduated college. She was in the Peace Corps, living in Cambodia. She was coming home in a couple of months. She went to go to grad school to become a writer. And I said to him, I said, you know the little brown house at the entrance to the business? I said, wouldn't it be amazing if we bought that for Glenn? Her name was Glenn. If we bought that for Glenn, and when she comes back, we can give it to her and tell her this is her writing cottage. And you know what he said? You think she'd like that? I said, she'd love it. We bought the house. She came home. We brought her up there. He had the keys in his pocket. He was so excited. Couldn't wait to get. So we took her down there, and so we said, you know that little cute house that's for sale? She said, really? I said, yeah, you want to go in there and look? She said, how you going to look? I said, we know where the keys are. We can go in there and look. We took her in there, looked around, and then he said, and it's yours. With so much pride, right? And then I kind of, I became a joke. So I was like, why are you telling the girl that and getting her all excited? She's like, I know. I was like, what? That would be crazy. That would be crazy. I said, no, it really is yours. And she said, really? And that was it. And then it has 3 bedrooms. I said, so you can decide, do you want the 2 smaller bedrooms or do you want the master bedroom? She said, I think I'll do the 2 smaller bedrooms so I can make one the office. I said, that's a good idea. So you can have your writing office and then you have your bedroom. We'll take the master, but it's your house or whatever. Then even on the show, for those of you who are watching, we talk about how we're going to decorate it. I've already picked out everything and and then she looked at me because she's smarter than him and said, this is really your house, right? I think she's been there maybe 3 times. Yeah, but she's doing her thing. So I'll take one more question because I know the hour is late.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like throughout the years of like marketing, did you ever have bump-ins or create allies with other hotels?
Say it again.
Like, did you ever create like bump-ins or had allies with other hotels through marketing?
Yeah. So we have now let the hotels know that we can be their best friend because the hotels and the hotel lobby, they're the ones who are trying to shut down Airbnb. You know that, right? Because they can no longer just jack their prices up because of the inventory being low. That's a supply and demand situation. Whenever you don't have that much, they can just jack it up. It's just like with the airline. You want to book tomorrow, you're paying 10 times what the person next to you paid, who did it 3 weeks ago. So we've helped them to understand that they need to be supportive of us, because we can be their ally against Airbnb. That's the first thing. Second piece is, yes, the Brooklyn Marriott, in the beginning, when they opened, they would always send us their overflow because hotels notoriously overbook on purpose because they figure you're not going to come and there's no loss. My customer, I don't overbook, and everybody pretty much shows up because I take a 50% deposit that's non-refundable. So, if you book 14 days before, we'll give it back to you. Minus $25 to process the credit card. After 14 days, that's your room. We've held it for you, right? So you can gift it to somebody, and this is what everybody wants to do. Well, we can come, how about if we just come next month? What do I do tonight? That's spoiled inventory. I can't do anything with that tonight. That's new money for a couple of months from now. Somebody else is going to pay for that. So we have to be that. So we asked them to, go ahead and get that traveler's insurance if you think you need it. Because the airlines would do that, right? You can't go. You just lost your money. So we are doing that. We don't do it a lot because we're a different customer. But we are now going to start doing online travel agencies. That's hotels.com, bookings.com, expedia.com. We don't want to do it. Because it takes 15% of your business. Yes. We have to pay 15% because you booked it on Expedia, right? So we don't want to do it. But as industries change, your business has to change. You have to, or you're going to get caught out there. You have no choice, right? So that's always important. My hair salon that was there on my strip, she did press and curl. She's from St. Lucia, and that's all she did was press and curl. She had the older customers who were very, very loyal to her because they want the pressing comb, right? And even some people with natural hair, like me, every now and then I go, oh man, let's see how long it is for real. Let's see what happens, I might do that, right? But because the neighborhood completely shifted, people who live down the street and around the corner don't do press and curl. They don't even know what that is. They can the hot comb, they don't even understand it. So after 20 years of being there, she had to close. Because I tried to help her 5 years ago. I said, here, I know, the neighborhood's changing. Not just with white people coming, but the young people don't do press and curl. So you need to go back and get, update your skill sets. So she started doing twist. And a lot of the little girls, the parents would send their kids there to get the twist, but it's like you gotta stay relevant. That's the bottom line. I don't even know if anybody's going to rent my glamping tents. They may, but it's a good story to tell either way, and it gets my husband. We got all that junk out of there, So but you have to go. What's new? What's happening now? It's glamping. Now I want a tiny house. I'm gonna buy a tiny house in the fall, y'all, because you know all those shows on TV with tiny house. I want a tiny house. It's gonna be a quad on the road, and we'll publicize where the tiny house is, and so we'll bring the property to you. So we can drive it, you know, upstate, or we can drive it to Atlanta, and we park it, and you rent it, you know. So you always got, what's next? If you stand still, you got a problem, unless that's your intent. There are definitely days when I look back and remember very fondly when there was one B&B, when it was just the one in Brooklyn. And I'd come home and I would do stuff like this, go like this. You know, touch everything and just so. Now I gotta act like I didn't see it the same way my staff do. Y'all ain't see that, right? Nobody saw the piece of paper, you know, I get crazy. I said, I need you to see. You have to see. Either you see and you're being lazy and trifling, or we haven't done a good job of training you to see. So when I go, there's a light bulb out. They go, which one? How about the one in your head? No, I don't say that. I definitely think it. I'm telling y'all. I say now, my business has made me, is another word that starts with a B. I'm telling you, it's hard. Because you expect the standard. And I tell them, if you think I'm tough, the customer's tougher. Customer's tougher. And they don't just tell 10 people. They tell the world on something called TripAdvisor. And if you think that they didn't notice that the feather was there when they came and it was there when they left, you got another thought coming. I see everything, and there people see more than me. I go into a room, I inspected the people. I was like, did y'all leave this Lysol here? They're like, that's not our Lysol. Right, the customer bought their own Lysol. Because that's how people do. I know there's 3 people in here who do that. Take their own wipes, Clorox wipes. I got people who bring their own sheets, put their sheets on top of my sheets. I'm like, what? Because they've lost trust. They've been trained to question, to not believe. You know what I do sometimes in my rooms? I take the stickies, you know, the little stickies, and I put, we look under the bed too, and I put the sticky underneath, and they get a hoot out of that. Oh my God, I looked under the bed, I saw your note, you look under the bed too. Yeah. Because that's what people do. So. Yes, one final question.
Hi, Mrs. Greenwood. I'm
Hi.
Stanton Ridley. I'm a senior electrical engineer major from Hampton University.
HU, the other one.
I just wanted to know, you mentioned bank loans. As a college student, loans aren't necessarily a friend of mine. So I'm trying to figure out, do you know of any business grants or other lucrative opportunities to start your business?
So there are some grants. There are not many of them. Very few people want to finance an enterprise. Grants are for nonprofits. There are some, right? But even with those, people need to understand the same requirement that it would be for a bank loan is required for everything. If you're irresponsible with your money, how do I expect you to be responsible with mine? That's the question. So what I would say to you as a young person now is get your credit clean. If you haven't already wrecked it, don't. You have to have great personal credit for anybody to invest in your business, even your mama, if your mama's me. Because I believe God bless the child that has his own. My daughter's my tenant. And when she late with the rent, I'm like knocking on the door. So you have to make sure that you manage your money well. For anybody, your auntie, anybody you know, to believe that they can invest in you. Banks are in the business of lending money. They don't want to tell you no. They don't want to tell you no. They can't make money if they don't lend you money, right? So if your stuff is tight, you understand your numbers, you come correct, somebody says something about personality, that's character. I'm going to change that. Yeah. It's not really your person, they had a good personality. No, they saw character. Yeah. That's what they saw in you, my brother. They said, this guy is serious about it. He wants this to work. We're here. We're going to invest in him. They're taking a bigger chance. And there are some bank loans. Boy, Lord, I'm working with Carver right now on a refi. It's painful. But I wanted to do business with a black bank. It's painful, so I know what y'all were talking about. I'm like, really? They called me up and said, but you have $30,000 in credit card debt. I said, did you read the application? That's why I want to be, that's why I'm pulling the money out to pay that off. I don't want to pay all that high interest on the credit card debt. So that's why I'm pulling the money out of my building. I want to pay that off. Because we do what we have to do. People, talk about, Spike Lee talks about financing, his business on credit cards. I've done it. I just did it. I ran $30,000 up in credit card debt, furnishing the Philadelphia property. Because I was ready to go. I needed to get going. The longer you wait, the less money you have coming in when you have expenses going out. Right. So it's like, I'm just going to have to, use this credit card debt and then figure out how to get rid of it. For me, it's like, let's just refinance it. I got all this money sitting in bricks. And until I sell something, I can't go buy, red bottom shoes. I can't. It's in the bricks. So, delayed, you gotta discipline, and delayed gratification will take you a long way when it comes to the financing piece. And being really smart about how much do you need? You don't want to go into business undercapitalized. I will say that to you. That's no fun. That is no fun. Because you're shortchanging shortcuts you're going to pay in the long run. Do the budget. Be realistic about it. The bank wanted to give me more money than I wanted to borrow. Sometimes that, because this is a black woman thing. We want to be, we're going to pay you back. You ain't going to say, I didn't pay you back. Amen. Right? So you didn't give it to me, you lent it to me. So I just want just what I need. They're like, we don't think you're going to need more. I'm like, I don't want more. Because if you get more, you're going to do what? Spend more. Yes. So that's important. Wow, I feel like I was preaching up here, Pastor. I thank you guys for your attention. All the best.
Let's give her a hand, everybody. She's did an awesome job. Awesome. Great information. Thank you so much. So this wraps up everything. I know we are way over time, but I think it was valuable information, and you really can't pay for that. You really cannot. So I'm not going to belabor this. I just want to again thank every one of the panelists that did this for us and shared their story. I just want to give another shout out to our MAC team. MAC team, those of you who are here, could you please stand? We got Eniola in the back. We have Brother Ridley here. Charles, yes, of course, our mic man. Sister Lisa, I know you hang out with us. Come on. I want to specifically pull them out because we could not have gotten the word out without them. Oh, yes, Brother Everett, yes. Please forgive me. That's why I don't call names. My brain was like, don't do it. They were instrumental. They really partnered with us to pull together the communication pieces to this. So to my Shiloh people, really reach out to your MAC team. There's some skill on that team that we're not aware of, okay? They are really good. I'm talking videos. I'm talking all types of stuff. So that's it for that. But and I know Pastor will speak more about that. There was something else. Ladies, what else? That's it? Well, then again, it was a pleasure. Thank you for just sacrificing your time. Again, Monique Greenwood, you're the best. You are the best. Thank you again. Pastor, please close us out.
Come on, let's give God praise again for first Ms. Greenwood, and then I want to thank the leadership of the women's ministry for their efforts today. Come on, let's give God praise for them. And our moderator for today. God bless you, Sister Washington. Great job. Great job. I was very, very blessed by the speakers, the persons who are, and all of our panelists. Come on, let's give God glory for all the panelists that participated. Thank you so much. Absolutely awesome job. What happened? And Marshall. Oh yeah, Brother Washington. Yeah, Brother Washington. I was blessed by everything that we heard today, and certainly grateful to our God for the wonderful privilege of being His child, and seeing what He has deposited within our own church and our fellowship, what He has entrusted us with. I'm so blessed by that. But I want you to keep in mind the time and the age in which we live, and understand that the information and the conversations that we share today are not small issues. They're extremely important and extremely weighty, particularly considering the time in which we live. We are progressively moving to a place where, once again, all we're going to have is each other. You better hear me. You better hear me. I was sitting in the pulpit of the 19th Street Baptist Church. I was 22, 23 years old. I know that because I was still in Bible college. It was an afternoon, no, it was an evening service, first Sunday night. Pastor Walker was standing there with his white robe on, his little beanie, and he's preparing to preach. But before he preached that night, he said to us, he said, and please understand, you know, we're all home folk here. He said, black people are in this community planting gardens, and white people are making plans. I was 22, 23 years old. I drove down to Philadelphia a few months back, drove through my old neighborhood. Everybody that I knew, gone. I was almost thrown off because I saw a little white woman walking a dog down 19th Street between Wharton and Federal. It may not mean anything to you, but when I was coming up in that neighborhood, they drove through or ran through. No one walked through. What he said then, my father's house, around the corner from 19th Street, sold for over $350,000, a row house. And that was 10 years ago, 12 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. The preacher that came to be with us a few weeks ago told me that that same neighborhood, that same house, you'd have to triple that now, because the whole neighborhood changed. The whole neighborhood changed. Oh, incidentally, I didn't get the $350,000. I was saying someone else paid for that later on. That's not what we got. I don't want anybody coming to me trying to borrow money. Ain't got no money. Here's the issue. The issue is this. We have got to become more conscientious about the stuff that we talked about today, and stop acting like heaven is our only hope. Heaven is a hope for us, but we ain't there yet. And as long as we're on earth, God expects us to do business until He returns. Let us pray. Father, thank you for all that you've done for us and for how faithful you've been to us. We pray now that you would sanctify the things that we have shared and that they have impacted our hearts and lives. Speak life to somebody in here, oh God. And then, Father, start a movement amongst these, your people. No matter what our age, no matter where we are on the spectrum of life, create within us a sense of duty, a sense of anxiousness to do your will in this area. We thank you so much for Ms. Greenwood and for how you used her today. We pray your blessing upon her life, along with her husband and her daughter. We pray, our God, that you would surround her with your protection and your provision, that you keep them as one. And oh God, as they prepare to do your work and their work in the world, we ask that you'd undergird them with your strength and overshadow them with your love. And then God, as we leave this place and go down our different places, we pray that you would protect us as we travel, as my family and I prepare to leave for Tennessee tonight. Watch over us and protect us and keep us safe on the road. And oh God, we will glorify you and bless you, for you alone are worthy. In Jesus' name, amen. I love you, Shiloh.